Welcome to the Toastmasters Experience. My name is Evelyn. Get inspired by today's Toastmasters insights. Enjoy the show. And welcome to another episode of the Toastmasters Experience. Today in the studio, I have Guy. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming in. Now, the show, of course, is about Toastmasters and their insights. So we're going to start at the beginning. What motivated you to join Toastmasters?
I was doing my PhD at the Australian National University in Canberra, and the Toastmasters group used to meet in the same building where I was sat, and I used to see them going in and out of there and thought, what kind of strange cult is that, you know? And one day I wandered in and had a look, and I just thought it was a really good way to meet fun people from around the campus that I didn't know, and it gave me a mental break from doing my research. And I just thought learning to be a better speaker would help me a lot. I know at the end of my PhD, I had to sort of stand up in front of the department and speak.
Okay.
So it would have been good practice for that. Which reminds me, the first time I ever got up in front of an audience and spoke was in the last year of my engineering degree, when I had to get up and speak to the whole department. So this was back in the day when you didn't have laser pointers or anything. You had this long wooden stick. So I was pointing at the screen and explaining things as I went, and I was so nervous, and I was sort of faking it, pretending I wasn't nervous, and because it's the first time it was about maybe 40 or 50 people, all the professors from our department and my classmates and people from other years were there in the theatre. And at the end of it, I said to a friend, well, how was that? And he says, you were so nervous that when you were holding the stick out, the shadow of the stick on the screen was going up and down like a yo-yo because see your hands shaking so much.
Obviously, after that experience, is that when you decided that you needed to go to Toastmasters?
Probably a 15-year gap in between. And then I worked in sales and marketing, and I used to have to get up and speak at conferences, and I used to have to do presentations in front of clients and stuff. So I got a lot of practice in.
So what motivated you to join the current Toastmasters clubs that you're in now?
Well, after ANU, there was probably more than 10 years when I didn't bump into Toastmasters or go to it or have anything to do with it. And when we moved to the Blue Mountains, we arrived in Glenbrook, and we were renting down there before moving to the upper mountains, where I live now. And in Glenbrook, I was looking around, how can I meet people? I'll join a football club. I went and joined the local bowling club. And then in the bowling club, they had the Toastmasters group at the back. And I said, I know Toastmasters. I used to be a member of that. I'll go and do that because I know it's fun. And I know you get to meet people and you get to stand up and speak. And so I joined. Yeah, I was only there for about 6 months. And then there were elections for committees and I got voted onto the committee.
Okay. That always seems to happen, yeah.
Became a sort of integral part of the Glenbrook Club.
And so you're a member of the Glenbrook Club, and you're also a member of Blue Mountains.
That's right, because I moved to the upper mountains, which is only 35 minutes drive away. And then I decided, well, I'll join the local club, which is the Blue Mountains one based in Katoomba at the Carrington Hotel. So now I'm a member of two clubs. One's on the second Thursday and fourth of Thursday of every month, and the other one's the second and fourth Monday of every month. Being
a member of two different clubs, is there a different culture or is there a difference that you've noticed?
Yes, they're very different. They are very different, yeah. I mean, they do the same things. They do the same agenda, the same order, although they throw in little extra things that the other ones don't do, little tweaks here or there. I would say the Glenbrook Club are probably a bit more older, and there's more experienced speakers there who've gone sort of more distinguished Toastmasters who've gone further up the Toastmaster ladders. The Blue Mountains one is more of a mix of ages and also a mix of genders. It's quite male-dominated in Glenbrook. It's probably about 50-50, I'd say, or maybe slightly more females in Blue Mountains. And what other differences have they? The venues are very different. One's in a fancy old hotel, the Carrington in Katoomba. The other one is in the bowling club, which is a modern, very well-lit building.
Yeah. I know that with some clubs, I don't know if they do this at Glenbrook, do you actually have to set up? Do you have to set up your venue?
Yes. So when you go in, the sergeant in arms is supposed to be there 15 minutes before, but often several people are there 15 minutes before to help, and we have to lay out all the tables and chairs. And then at the end of the evening, we have to put them back in exactly the same spots where they all were at the start.
Yeah, a lot of clubs are like that. And I know Blue Mountains doesn't realize that, how lucky we are to have all the tables and all the water, everything is set up for us. I've noticed a little bit of an accent. So where are you originally from?
I grew up in Sutton Coldfield, which is near Birmingham in the middle of England.
Okay. And were you aware of Toastmasters when you were in England?
No. And I went to university in Nottingham. Hadn't heard of it then either. Then I traveled the world.
Yeah.
And, they call it a gap year now, but for me it wasn't a gap year. I did it the year after I finished uni. I worked in the States and then came to Australia and traveled around Australia, and at the end of it decided to stay.
Now, what have you learned in Toastmasters that has totally surprised you?
I think how quickly you notice people improve. Like someone can come who's a really bad speaker and they and ah and they've got their chin down and they talk to the ground and they're very nervous at the beginning. And then within like 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, they're confidently speaking and they're not shying away from exercises. They're putting their hand up to come and give a talk for the next meeting, and just how quickly people improve, I think.
What is your favorite role in a meeting, like as far as Toastmaster, speaker, table topics?
I think my favorite, because I love doing trivia quizzes.
Oh, okay.
So I like sort of hosting and so I love doing being the table topics host, where you come up with a different set of questions for 8 to 10 people each week. And I try to get really creative, and I've kind of got a bit of reputation for giving hard questions that really put people under the pump.
What about delivering speeches? Is there like a favorite speech topic that you like to talk about? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a writer as well as a speaker, and mostly I write about my memoirs. So travel memoirs from my childhood. And they fit really well into a sort of, because most of the things I write is about 2,000 words, which is probably about a 12-minute talk. So I have to cut them down to 7 to 8 minutes, which is good to cut things down, because then you get rid of the fluff and you actually get to the point. Yeah. So most of the talks I actually do about my personal experiences traveling around the world, or funny things that have happened to me in my life.
If you look at your professional life, what has helped you from Toastmasters, or what have you brought from your professional life into Toastmasters?
I think it works both ways. You bring stuff into Toastmasters and you take things out of Toastmasters back into your workplace. Bringing stuff into Toastmasters, when I joined Glenbrook, my job was head of marketing for a non-for-profit. So they gave me the role on the committee of vice president of PR, so I could bring all my knowledge and experience of that to the club and help them with that aspect of their committee. I do have to get up and I do have to give presentations at work in front of people. It's all about relationships. So now I'm the executive director of a non-for-profit, and it's all about making partnerships and relationships. And when you meet people, just being comfortable with meeting complete strangers and being able to speak to them without having nerves, and being able to, all the table topics practice I've had means that I can pretty much go with any conversation on any aspect of science with anyone I speak to, feeling confident and flowing.
What area in your life do you find your Toastmasters experience in communicating has served you well?
It even helps in your marriage.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
I mean, learning to speak, the better your communication, the better your marriage. Yeah. The more you're able to express and say what you really want to say without being nervous about saying it. And I play a lot of soccer and I do soccer coaching. Again, that's communication, talking to the players, taking commands of them at training, and giving the right instructions and being confident to just speak out. So at the moment, I'm not coaching, but the coach was away on Tuesday night when I was playing for Wentworth Falls at a training session. And so I took over the exercises before we had a game. And I think every aspect of your life, really, it can help.
As far as any other resources or books or tools that you use for self-development and communication, can you recommend anything that you actually read besides Toastmasters that you found really beneficial?
I love audiobooks. So while I'm driving, while I'm cooking, while I'm doing stuff, I listen to audiobooks. And I listened to a good one recently by the founder of TED, the TED Talks. Okay. And he goes through all the things that the speakers do badly over the years, all the things they've learned that work and don't work, having a monitor with the lines at the top or down the bottom, and it goes way beyond what they do in Toastmasters, because he's talking at big conference venues and all the tricks and turning the organization around and expanding the TEDx phenomenon. So it was a really interesting read.
Guy, it's been such a pleasure having you on today's show and episode. But I wanted to ask one last question. What advice would you give someone considering joining Toastmasters?
First thing, you go along as a guest and go to more than one club. Go and check out 2 or 3 clubs around you. Choose your favorite club and then join.
Yeah.
And then when you join, as soon as you get an opportunity to go on the committee, take up the opportunity, go on the committee.
Yeah.
You don't have to know what you're doing, because the person who was previously in that role will help you. And it's actually good. So, for example, if you don't know anything about finances, be the treasurer.
Yeah.
If you don't know anything about marketing, be the vice president of PR.
Yeah.
And the people around you will help you and you'll learn stuff. So that's great. And then once you're on the committee, then the next thing is enter competitions.
Yeah, I love it. And if you're like Guy, because you have embraced so much, I think, and I love that you've just given everything a go. It's been absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much for being on today's episode, and I look forward to seeing you at the next Toastmasters meeting.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for your company. Please tune in next time to the Toastmasters Experience.